Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to the Self Love Fix podcast. I hope you're all doing well. I hope this episode finds you well. We are going to get into episode 2 today. And this one's going to get a little real. We're going to start talking about some things that I know a lot of you are probably experiencing right now. A lot of you are fed up. And some of you are like, okay, what are you talking about? Tell us what you're talking about. Okay, so we've all had that guy or two or five who have treated us less than favorably, and I am here to tell you that you are not alone. And not only are you not alone, but that how he and other guys treated you says nothing about your worth. It says absolutely nothing about your worth. I think a lot of times what happens is when we've had messy relationships or gotten out of messy relationships, when someone has ghosted us, when a guy just treated us who at first appeared to be a very great guy, but then out of nowhere switch on us. We're like, what did we do? And why me? And, just falling into this rabbit hole of what did I do? And it might be my fault, or it must be my fault. And all of that kind of just negative dialogue that shouldn't be happening. Sis, let's not blame ourselves. Let's not tie our experiences with these men to our worth. I'm about to say it again. Let's not tie our experiences with these men to our self-worth. The two are mutually exclusive events. I really need everyone to understand there's mutually exclusive events, and some people are already there. If you're there, girl, yes. It's not all of us are there. There's many of us who are just like, is it me? Did I do something wrong? And I want to tell you something, especially in the Black community, or being a Black woman, we have a tendency to kind of maybe tuck our feelings away, or kind of have this attitude of like really high self-esteem, and that's so great. We want to have high self-esteem, but sometimes it's kind of a facade. It's not really what we feel inside. Sometimes we're really actually broken, and we really do feel our worth is affected by these men, but we might not talk about it because it's not really what Black women do. Am I right? I know I'm not the only one who's experienced this kind of phenomenon, but I'm here to tell you, sis, your worth is not tied to what you experienced from these men. I'm also not freeing ourselves from mistakes we might have made in relationships, but I'm trying to get you to understand your worth is not tied to your experiences with men. Okay? So let's get into this tea. Let's get into what this is all about and what it looks like. And I also should clarify that in this episode, I'm talking about relationships between men and women, just because that's what I've experienced. But please feel free to apply this to what your relationship looks like. I just wouldn't be able to speak on it because I haven't experienced it. But I don't want you to feel left out. I'm just letting you know that this is just based on that's what I've experienced. So think about your current relationship with your significant other, or the man that you're dating, or someone you're just getting to know. Like, how does he treat you? And I really mean, like, how does he treat you? Do you think about that? Like, how does he make you feel? And when you leave his presence, do you feel drained, or do you feel revitalized? Like, how do you feel after speaking to him? Do you feel like you've used all of your energy and you just need a break? Or do you feel affirmed, heard, comforted, all of the above, everything good in life? If you're feeling the former, that's a lot of what you might hear women, especially Black women, talking about when they say emotional labor in relationships. So if you're unfamiliar with the term, from my understanding, in the context of a relationship, it's the stifling of emotions, or the altering of emotions in such a way that keeps things kind of at bay with your partner. It doesn't rock the boat. You're just you're hurting and you're not feeling good, and you are feeling everything but pleasant, but you're, doing that with the goal of kind of keeping your relationship afloat. And let me be clear, nothing is by force. Absolutely nothing is by force. But, if you're having issues with self-worth, what might happen is you might think you need to do this emotional labor in order to keep your relationship, because maybe you don't know how to be without a relationship, or maybe you don't know yourself without this person. And in addition, it might not be that you have an issue with self-worth. It could be that you don't want to let this person go. This person might not be good for you, but you have so much history with them, and you're willing to go through this emotional labor and stifling of emotions, and smiling even when you're not happy because you have history. Either way, if it's the history or if it's you're scared to be alone or you don't know what it's like to be without this person, that is putting yourself second. It's putting yourself second, and your mental health second, your self-worth second. And while this person who is no good for you is benefiting from all of your labor, all of your discomfort, they get comfort from your discomfort, not knowingly, of course, but they're reaping these almost benefits from your misery, and it's awful, and I wish that on no one. And sis, I'm here to help. I'm here to I'm hoping that this gives you sort of a glimpse into what it looks like when we don't know that we deserve better. And sis, I'm gonna keep saying it throughout this whole episode, you deserve better. And emotional labor is not it. You don't deserve to be sitting around with your emotions being tied down or stretched every which way while you smile. You deserve to be able to communicate how you feel and have your partner openly communicate back, and the both of you try to figure out a way to resolve any issues, resolve how somebody might be feeling this way and somebody might be feeling that way. That's what you deserve, not this tug of war with your emotions. Sis, you deserve better. I think as women, especially as Black women and African women, we often bend over backwards, adjusting ourselves, adjusting our expectations, and adjusting our needs for these men who enter into our lives. We sort of think, like, okay, I'll put up with this negative trait or that negative aspect of their personality because the other parts of them are great. And honestly, they probably just have a few bad traits. It's no big deal. I'll deal with it. It's nothing serious. The majority of their traits are things that I like, so I'll deal with it. Sis, listen. If we're talking they forget to close the toilet seat, or maybe they don't have the greatest style in the world, but they have a genuine, pure heart, and they are kind people, kind to you, kind to others, and they listen to you, and they're compassionate, etc., then yeah, I agree. If it's something like that. But when we're talking those bad traits are things like they don't ever let you speak, they don't listen to your feelings, they diminish your feelings, they don't remember things about you that you think are important for them to remember, etc. Things like that. Those aren't bad traits. Those are, stay away from that nigga. Like, stay away from him. He's not for you. He's likely going to do you more harm than good. Even if along with those traits you see good traits, like maybe he, I don't know, takes you on really nice date nights, or he's really good at making you laugh, or he makes you feel safe when you're around him, things like that. Okay, that doesn't cancel it out though. That's not what we're doing. There's no canceling out. If he's doing anything to diminish you as a person, or is not allowing for you to flourish as a person, sis, no, absolutely not. I just want to make it clear, or I hope I'm making it clear, that there's a difference between having bad traits and being toxic. Any guy that's not willing to listen to you, or undermines your feelings, or makes fun of your feelings, anything like that, that's called toxic. We don't ever want that. But again, like I said, he forgets to close the toilet seat. I mean, if you remind him a couple times, he's going to close the toilet seat. You know what I mean? That's something that's workable, but not what I was saying about diminishing, who you are. That's not okay at all. So kind of continuing further with those toxic traits I was just mentioning, men who don't listen to you, they don't respect your feelings, they don't listen to you when you express your feelings. Further, maybe they're not kind, maybe they, insult you, or maybe they do it on the sly and you don't even realize it, or they kind of judge you, things like that. What is your response to that? Like, do you kind of brush it off and make excuses for him? Like, oh, he didn't mean that. Like, he just had a long day, he's stressful, or he had a little bit too much to drink. He really didn't mean that. He wouldn't normally say that because he's usually really sweet and he's usually really nice. Again, it's what I was saying before about how we can't have the good things override the blatant toxicity. We just can't have the two can't coexist. Men can manipulate and they can, throw in some good good little sprinkles of goodness while also remaining totally toxic. And I really would like to know, what is your response to that? Or I'd really like you to think about, like, what is your response to that? And be careful that you're not making excuses for this man. I wonder what it would be like if you did what he did to you. Would he be able to take that? And I'm sure if you think about the person in your life who may be acting like this and you try to flip it, 100% they wouldn't take it. So why would you take it? And this isn't to blame you or, make you feel bad about yourself. No, it's more just to make you think, like, why would you take it? And 100% they wouldn't take what they dish out at you, I'll tell you something else. A man who treats you like that, who does all of what I was just listing, not kind to you, not respectful of your feelings, doesn't let you express your feelings, doesn't listen to you, it's not about you. Going back to that self-worth thing, it's not about you. He's got his own issues, and you just happen to unfortunately be almost like a welcome mat where he can lay all of his frustration, all of his anger, whatever he's got going on at you. The welcome mat, right? Because at welcome mats, we put our shoes, we put everything down before we get into the house. We dump everything, right? That's kind of what he's doing to you. So as you can see, it's not you. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with him and what's going on inside of him. I often say that people are mirrors. People are like mirrors. So if you like what you see in a mirror, you're gonna treat what you see pretty nicely, right? Well, what if you don't like what you see? What are you gonna do? You're not gonna treat what you see very nicely. So it's like we all walk around in this world looking at people as our reflections, whether we realize it or not. And I'm not like a psychologist or anything, and I mean, this is just all what I've interpreted from my own experiences, but I do believe that. So, and when I say that, what I mean is if you have self-love and you're walking in self-love, it's really hard to treat people badly, and it's really hard to not listen to people and not respect their feelings when you are whole and complete in yourself. It's very difficult. Do you know anyone that loves themselves that treats you badly? Probably not, right? But people who treat people badly and don't respect them, their boundaries, their feelings, all of that, they likely don't love themselves. So I said all that to say, before you blame yourself for the way this man or men in your past have treated you or continue to treat you, ask yourself, I wonder if they love themselves. I wonder how they feel about themselves, because it ain't me. I know it's not me, because I may make mistakes, of course. Yes, I'm human. But does that warrant me to not be respected? Does that warrant my feelings to not be heard or listened to? Absolutely not. Somebody who doesn't love themselves is not capable of catering to someone else. Please remember that. Please remember they don't have space or room for you. They just are faking like they do, sis. They're faking like they do because they probably are scared of being lonely too. They probably, just as you're getting comfort and, whatever you're getting from being with them, they're getting that from you too. Crazy. Two sides of the same coin. I hope I'm making sense here for you. But in any case, sis, you deserve better than to stick around someone who makes you feel like your worth is going down. And it's not. Trust me, it's not. So I spent a little bit of time going over kind of the negative aspects that we sometimes find in men. And I just want to make it clear. I want to make it clear, though, at times, sometimes we are the ones who are the toxic people, right? So sometimes we're the ones who are bringing down the relationship with our own issues of low self-esteem or self-worth, and I don't want to negate that. But this episode in particular is for those women who are experiencing the repercussions or the consequences of the men who are the toxic individuals. So that's what this is about. But I don't want it to go without saying that sometimes it's us. It can 100% absolutely be us too. But that's not who this is about. This is about the women who are going through just negative treatment from men, toxic behavior from men, etc. So now that I've listed a few toxic traits, or the ones that I feel are just major toxic traits, not being listened to, not having your feelings validated or listened to, not being kind to you, judging you, insulting you, harshly criticizing you, things like that. Let's talk about things that we should be looking for in men, and we should not feel like this is too much to ask for, or we're, looking for something that's not there. There are men out there who are going to treat you well and who don't have toxic traits, and they will exhibit some traits like listening to you when you speak. Simple as that. Letting you have the space to let your feelings flow, to say what you want. They'll communicate with you. You know what I mean? They won't feel personally attacked whenever you bring up something that you're not comfortable with, or something that you think might be putting a damper on your relationship. They are open to hearing your side of the story, and they will have open dialogue with you that is not full of anger or throwing blame or anything like that, right? We don't want that. We're not children, we're adults, and that's what should be happening in an adult healthy relationship. They're going to apologize for their mistakes. They're not going to feel like their ego is bruised because you mentioned something that hurt you, or something that they said or did to offend you. No, they're going to apologize. They're going to say what they're going to do to make things better, or to make it better so that they don't do that the next time. That's what you deserve, sis. None of this blame game, none of this ego bruising. Come on. Those are things children do because they don't have the capacity to be able to understand that somebody else experiences something outside of themselves. Ooh, I felt a little something in my spirit when I said that. There's too many of these men, sis, that think that they don't understand that somebody can experience something different from themselves. And that's why sometimes they might lash out at you. They might refuse to apologize to you because they simply cannot see your point of view. And sis, I'm trying to tell you, girl, no, you don't deserve that, and you shouldn't welcome any of that in your life. In addition to apologizing and correcting their behavior, they will support you and your dreams. Your dreams and your goals are not a threat to their own, or a threat to their own success. They are going to uplift you, and they are going to be by your side as you do what you want. None of this archaic BS about you having to be by the side of a man while he, conquers his dreams or fulfills his goals or anything like that. No, sis, you can do that too. Any man who's not willing to support you and thinks you're just supposed to support him, sis, we can't have it anymore. We're not doing that anymore going forward. That's foolish, and it's backwards thinking, and it's very archaic thinking. And no. No. And they will also be kind to you and kind to others. I'm not saying that you are completely flawless and there's nothing wrong you can do, and they should never, ever, ever, ever point out anything wrong that you do. On the contrary, we're human. We all have flaws, and we especially need our partners to help us see how we can improve. Keyword, how we can improve, not having partners to only point out our flaws in such a way that makes us feel bad, right? No, it's with the intention of helping us improve, not with the intention of knocking us down. Know the difference, sis. Please know the difference, because it's men out here that are trying to knock you down under the guise of trying to build you up. Sis, know the difference. A man who's trying to help you improve is going to tell you about your shortcomings in a way that's positive reinforcement, positive communication. Something like, hey, I noticed that sometimes you say you're gonna, do this goal, or you're gonna make this step towards this goal, but you kind of, you haven't really been keeping up with it as much as I want you to, or I know that you want to. And I just want to mention this to you because I know how close you are to fulfilling that goal, and I'm just here to hold you accountable. I just want you to know I'm rooting for you, and you're better than this. You see, that's a positive way to tell somebody that they might not be doing what they need to be doing. And it's out of love, and it's out of your partner, or that partner, wanting to see their partner thrive and flourish. Now, if it was a man who has ill intentions and just wants to, knock you down under the guise of building you up, he might be like, you never do what you say you're going to do. Look, you said you were going to hit this part of this step in your goal weeks ago. What are you doing? Like, you do this all the time. You never, ever, ever fulfill your goals. And that's why you're at the place that you are now. That's why. You see how that's harsh, and you see how that's said in a way to break you down, to not build you up. Sis, that's what I mean by know the difference. We don't need that. We don't need that. There's already enough criticism that we get from the world. We definitely don't need it from people that we actively choose to have in our lives. And sis, it's a choice to have a man in your life. Nothing is by force. So please know that the difference between a man who is trying to improve you and a man who's trying to knock you down. And lastly, how does he treat people? And I mean all kinds of people. People in different social structures, people in different social classes. How does he treat them? That's important. Is he kind to everyone, no matter what their background, no matter what their race, whatever? Like, how does he treat people? Because how he treats people is how he's going to treat you, even if he's not doing that yet. Because you might be like, okay, he doesn't exactly treat that waiter very nicely, but you know he treats me nicely. I'm sure he's just having a bad day. I'm sure the waiter probably did something to trigger him, but he don't treat me like that. Well, he's gonna treat you like that soon enough. Give it some time. So make sure he's kind. That's important. So I hope all those things I listed about what positive traits to look for in men is helpful. And I didn't even scratch the surface when I was talking about some of the traits that were toxic earlier. I wasn't even mentioning things like more obvious things, right? Like when a man hits you, or domestic violence, things like that. Please know that just because the violence isn't domestic, or just because the way they treat you doesn't leave any marks on you, it doesn't mean it's not going to affect you. If I can leave you with anything, I want to leave you with knowing that there is a man out there that will treat you the way you want to be treated. Don't think you have to settle. Don't think you have to put up with what comes your way. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not going to see it. There was, I'm not very religious. I'm a pretty spiritual person, but back when I used to go to church, there was this one pastor I had that said, if you can't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. And I'm going to say it again really slow. If you can't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. And I don't know if that pastor said it, came up with that, or if he got it from somewhere. But basically, he told us when he said that he meant that if you can't visualize something before you actually have it, you'll never have it. So don't sit there and be like, oh, I'll just have to settle with this because this is all that's coming my way. This is all that I've seen. This just must be the type of guys I'm getting. Oh, well. No. If you don't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. So I need you to start seeing that you're going to be treated well, that a man with good intentions and a good, pure heart will come your way. But in addition to that, I also don't want you to put your hope in a man. That's not good either. This man who does have all of these good traits and all of these positive characteristics is not going to make you feel better about yourself if your self-worth or your self-esteem isn't there. So it's like a catch-22, but I do want you to know that inner self-work is first before we ever even try to find a partner that can complement that inner self-work, because your partner and who you attract is only going to be a reflection of who you are and how you feel about yourself. 100%. So in conclusion, sis, understand that you deserve better, but please don't jump from guy to guy in search of that very thing. I just want to say that again. Understand that you deserve better, but please don't jump from guy to guy in search of that very thing. It's easy to do whenever a guy hurts you. Instead of hashing out the emotions and dealing with the pain, that you try and mask it under the guise of a new relationship or a new man. But I promise you this, the effects from all of these relationships that you have are additive. And pretty soon, you're going to have a breakdown because something's got to give. And I want to let you know, sis, it doesn't have to be you. So, yes, sis, you do deserve better. But before you jump to better, take some time to self-reflect, take some time to journal, take some time to ask yourself, how did I feel in this entire relationship and were my needs met? And hash out if you blamed yourself for the way he treated you, and if you felt your self-worth diminishing, or if you felt it has diminished as a result of your relationships or your previous relationship. Because once again, it shouldn't. But I want you to be able to take the time to see, is that what I felt? Is that what happened? So that you can begin to do the work and, self-love, and really just building back that self-esteem, that self-love, that self-worth that you deserve to have. So once again, I just want to say that you deserve better from the outside, meaning from a relationship, from a guy, from a man, but you also deserve better on the inside, meaning your self-love, your self-worth. You deserve to be whole and complete. especially before you jump into that next relationship. Okay? So thank you for tuning into episode 2 of the Self-Love Fix. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you were able to reflect on your own experiences. I hope that this got some things turning in your head. And you know what? I hope you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so that she or he could learn a little bit more about themselves. I hope you have a great week, a great weekend. Stay tuned for the next episode.